and a sword will pierce your own soul too. Love, it's costly. To love someone is to make ourselves vulnerable. Like a flower opens itself to the sunshine, so we open up our hearts to give and receive love's joy. But then we cannot close in time not to be bruised by the raindrops. There are some who never fully give of themselves, always keeping that little bit back because they cannot bear to be so vulnerable, and others who wear their hearts on their sleeves. Most of us come somewhere between those two extremes, but almost all of us, by the time we are adults, will have learnt that at times we need to have our armour raised against the slings and arrows, not so much of outrageous fortune, but of unrequited love, of disillusionment, of rejection, of affection that is offered but only on condition. But when we do risk love, what then? Would we ever say we wished we hadn't? Even when we are hurt by it, maybe because we've loved someone very deeply and we've lost them, we know that the pain we feel is a measure of the depth of our love. It is through human love that we first experience something of God's love, although it can never be as perfect because we as human beings are not perfect. It's hard between adults to love without expecting anything in return. Although Paul tells us in that well-known passage from 1 Corinthians 13, so often used at weddings, that love is not self-seeking. True love is offered unconditionally and is sacrificial. Perhaps the closest we come to God's love for us is in the love we have for a child. It doesn't have to be our own child. There are many who have never had children who will still know this love. It can be the love for an adopted child, or a foster child, or a stepchild. It can be the love for a sister or a brother's child, a friend's child, a godchild. There is something in the vulnerability of little children that brings out the best in us as we long to protect and nurture, to give of ourselves and our love, and not to place conditions on the giving or the loving. But this is the love that lays us open to being hurt. Hurt if they reject us, hurt when they no longer need us, and most of all, hurt if they are hurt. For wouldn't we 100 times rather that we were hurt than that they should suffer, whether that be physically or emotionally? Think of Simeon's words to Mary, "And a sword shall pierce your own soul too," and think of her having to watch a beloved son on a cross. Love is costly. We're going to hear our second hymn now. It's Tell Out My Soul, and it's based on the prayer of joy and amazement that Mary offered up to God when she first found out that she was pregnant with Jesus. In it, she looks to a time of justice and kindness for all and to all.